Hickok 45 here with some common sense gun safety. Now I mean real common sense gun safety, not the kind of common sense gun safety the anti-gunners come up with. You know, they're using gun safety as a euphemism for gun banning. We don't do that, as you might guess. But this video in kind of a series, we may do several on gun safety, common sense gun safety. This one is on handgun safes. Okay, we've done several videos on safety, but we probably have been a little bit remiss. We should do more of these, and we're going to talk about handgun safes here in today's segment. And I have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boy, I'm from Kentucky, I can count. I have 6 of them on the table, and I just want to introduce you to these things if you're not familiar with them. I see people making comments, and I've heard them make comments to the effect of, for decades, I wouldn't want a handgun in my house, or maybe a gun at all, but a handgun especially. I've got kids, or my husband or my wife doesn't, want a gun in the house. Just too many opportunities for an accident, or we've got kids is a big one, of course. Couldn't have a loaded gun around. People in and out of the house, just various reasons, and many of them legitimate, of course. Well, I have also been a little surprised in my life at the people I talk to who are really maybe not into firearms yet, or they have just gotten into them. Maybe they live out where there aren't a lot of big gun shops, and they just are not seemingly aware of these things that exist. Okay, now I'm not selling you any of these individuals. We're selling you on this concept. I mean, I want you to be aware that they exist. I've had one, this one right here, for many years. I had another one before that. So I'm a proponent of these, but when they're used smartly, all right, you have to be aware of the limitations, the advantages, and where they fit in the type that you want. And that's a lot of what I wanted to cover today, is some of the features that you can get with these things. All right, so I'll mention who made them, but again, that's irrelevant. There are probably I don't know, there may be dozens and dozens of these things on the market. I purchased this one, the Gun Vault. I don't know who made this thing. These are about 30 bucks or something. I bought that one. I bought the Gun Vault many years ago. I bought the Hornady recently because I knew we were going to do something on these, and I bought the Liberty recently because, again, we maybe have been a little bit remiss, and it dawned on me and on John that we just need to do more of this kind of thing, probably. So I went about purchasing some. Coincidentally, the same month, we had contacts from a couple of different people on this one, the Artemis, and then the Vault-Tec just wanted to know if we wanted to review one and wanted to send us one. And I told both companies we don't really do individual reviews of stuff, really just guns. But we did have in mind to show some of these things and let our viewers make sure they're all aware that these things do exist. So if you want to send one, you're not going to get a detailed review of it, but it'll probably show up in a video, because we're going to, again, these things are wonderful. We should have had one on the table for the last 8 years, really, just over there. We may do that, just leave one on the table, because I'm, again, surprised at how many people are not aware that they exist and how they work. So let me give you just a quick skinny on these things. One like this is not very expensive. I don't even know the pricing on all of them, I forget. This one I think I paid about 30 bucks. It's just got a simple little combination dial, and you just get it right and then turn the dial and it locks, and then turn it so, just kind of like a suitcase or something, all right? And it's a little piece of metal. It works. These are not designed as safes per se. They're designed to keep basically kids away from the firearm more than anything. And somebody can pick up and steal it, right? Probably, and if they got the right tools, they could probably break into some of them, all of them, some more easily than others. All right, this one's polymer. That's kind of a new thing there, but we all know polymer firearms are pretty tough, so that one might be as hard to break into as a metal one. I don't know, I haven't tried it, but lots of different features. Here's some things to think about. Let's get to it. This one, for example, I've had for a long time. You can open it with a key. Okay, now I never use the key, but there it is. You have that option, and then of course the finger. You set what you want the sequence to be, and that's how you generally use it. All right, and that's pretty popular. Buttons to push that work the combination, and then they pop open. All right, or you can use a key. This thing, I can't believe it still works. I've not changed the battery in ever, actually, and I don't even remember how to change it, but those are pretty nice. So I've had that one a long time. You saw it in a video, and again, it's been too long since we brought it out and reminded you. So if you're not even aware of these things, think about that. I mean, you're not going to break into that without some special tools, and unless you know the code or you have the key. So you can keep a firearm in there, as you can in any of these, and it's going to be safe from a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. Or now, John and I were talking about this earlier. Now, if you've got a 12-year-old, that is able to dismantle a car engine and put it back together or something, this is all your choice. It's your call on whether you trust one of these. Okay, whoever makes it. All right. But I do encourage everybody to investigate these things. If you are new to firearms, you don't have one of these, you're not aware of them, you were thinking about buying a handgun, but you're afraid you wouldn't be able to keep it safe or away from the youngsters or whatever it might be, here they are. These kinds of things exist, and they're literally, I don't know how many companies make them. I'm sure it is in the dozens, at least, okay? So please share if you have one and what you think about it, all right? And then maybe this video in the comments can be very instructional to other people, because I've only had experience with, the one that I had a Canon before this, and then I bought this one, and they've both worked, and all these seem to work pretty well. So this one here, the things you can get. Now you can get one like this that just takes the combination, of course, and doesn't cost anything much. Or one like this uses a key, and also it's biometric. So you push the button and then put your finger on it. I've already programmed my fingerprint, and there you go. So the biometrics are more expensive generally. Now this one is not. This company is trying to make an inexpensive one that has the biometrics. I forget what it sells for, but anyway, you push the red button, and I programmed my finger, and you can usually program all different angles, sides and here, the end of it, and all that kind of thing, so that when you go to open it, it's not going to stay locked just because your finger's not on there properly. So they all do allow for that, okay? Or you can use a key. All right, so that's one combination of features. This one wasn't very expensive. I think I paid 99 bucks for it, and it uses just the code. I programmed some random code into it. Okay, opens up. There's your gun in there. I just have. Okay. Most of them come with one of these, a cable, and you run it out of there, and you loop this around something. That's an option at least. Okay, it makes it, now anybody could cut that with some bolt cutters, but it's an option. It makes it harder to steal it. Now, almost all of them come with that, I think. Okay, I'll just leave that out. So this one is combination only or key. Okay, so no biometric. Biometrics tend to run more money. Speaking of more money, and I bought the Hornady, this one this week, or last week, it was like around 250 bucks. It's not cheap, but it represents a lot of the different capabilities. It uses a key. You have to take this plate off the front to use the key. So you wouldn't use the key unless you had to, right? Unless something went wrong with it. That's really what it's designed for mostly, because you've got a code here. I just left it at, Tom, look at here, a Glock 19, I'll be darned. Okay, so you see how that one's a little different. All right, so that would just be valuable if you wanted your gun to pop out and be accessible in that way. All right, so kind of interesting. It's a little different. Now it also has a power, AC power. If it's plugged in, you don't have to hit enter. But if it's not plugged in, you're operating off battery. You hit enter and then do the code and then hit enter again. It pops open. A little bit loud. I don't know if I was interested in getting my firearm quietly. This wouldn't be my choice, but it seems to work well. It also comes with, you got a card that right there's a sensor under that. I even programmed it, a bracelet. If you're wearing that and you just put your wrist right there, it opens, and also a key fob. So that kind of money will get you one that has a lot of those functions, if that's what you're looking for. And again, I'm not selling Hornady. I paid for that. I don't know how many companies make them that have all of those features, but I'm sure there are others. Okay, For example, Liberty they're kind of a specialist in making safes, so they probably have one that has all those features, and I don't know what it would cost. Mainly just want to make you aware of what's out there, and I would do a lot of research and find out what's out there in addition to these. But these are some of the things you can get. That's kind of what I want to show you. Let's see, this one over here, Voltec, it seems to, now it's got the sensor and then also the button, push button. Wow, look what's in there. One of my favorite pistols. It comes with a handgun. And there you go, a revolver, old school. This one feels really solidly made. It would be difficult to break into. Now again, you can steal any of them, but they're all drilled. You see you've got holes in the bottom so you can screw them down to whatever you want, a table or something that can't be, stolen or moved out very easily. And that's an option. Now this one, I'll be able to program my fingers into it yet, but that one seems to be made really well, I'll have to say. And then you get what you pay for. I don't even know what that one sells for. That was one that they sent us. I don't know if it's $200 or $250 or $150. I don't really remember. But you get what you pay for generally. And like this one doesn't have the biometrics or anything. That's why it's not so expensive. But they make them with the biometrics. But those are the various things that are available. And also, remember, you're not worried about the value of the gun that much. You're worried about keeping it away from the wrong hands. So even if you have a high point, you want to keep it away from the wrong people, okay? So that's why these are so valuable. And yet they still, obviously, they give you the ability to have a firearm pretty quickly as you really need to get to it. That's the thing. And that's the thing we all go through. People don't want a loaded gun in the house. One of the arguments is, well, I wouldn't be comfortable with a loaded handgun, in the house. These allow you to have a loaded handgun because if it's not loaded or the ammo is not pretty close by, it's not much use, right? What this does is give you that ability to have a handgun and have the ammo either in it or close by. Now, I've seen in the verbiage and the instructions on at least 2 of these indicate do not store a loaded gun in this box. Now, I guess that's kind of just covering your butt, you know what I'm talking about there, partly. But then again, I'm not here to tell you how to store your handgun in something like this. You could store it, where was that one with the, oh yeah, it's like an Easter egg hunt, isn't it? Glock was in that one. You might want to store it, that's not a good one to show, I guess. Let's open this one. Again, watch it not take my fingerprint. Nope, didn't have it on there. There we go, okay. I tried to program every angle. You might want your firearm in there, now this is not hot. You might want it in there like that and maybe the magazine beside it. There's one option. Open it up, grab the gun, put it in there, rack the slide. Again, you're not talking about much time, are you? You might want it in there with the magazine in it, but nothing in the chamber. Probably one viable option. Maybe you want the firearm in there, but you want the magazine somewhere else. I don't know. Another box, in the drawer, somewhere. I don't know. It depends on where you're using it and all that sort of thing. But you have different options, and that's, of course, up to the user. Oh, you got to push the red button, forgot. So there are different ways to use them, and, of course, that's up to the individual. I'm not going to advocate, one way over another. They're pretty quick to get the firearm, however you have it in there. And that's up to you in terms of what you do. If it's a revolver, well, same thing. You could have a speed loader in there with it, or you could have the speed loader somewhere else. You could have a speed loader full of ammo around your neck as you sleep. I don't know. You have to be the judge. It's kind of like whether or not you carry a firearm with a round in the chamber. I get that question a lot, and it really depends. Now I know generally if you're experienced what the best way probably to carry that firearm is. But then again, I don't know a person's level of experience, whether they're a klutz or not, what. So that's up to the person. I can't advise on that. But these things are available. They are out there, and there are a lot more than these, and they could be a lifesaver, but they are a very viable option for having a firearm, a handgun, fairly accessible, okay? Pretty quickly accessible. Now you set your own codes, but you know, this just doesn't take long even using a code to get into one of these things, you know? So, you know, that beats having that firearm under your pillow, you know, and then there it is. And if you've got the biometric, you put your finger on there and it pops open and doesn't take very long at all. So just want to mainly bring these to you. They're kind of like a smart box, a lot more sensible than a smart gun, right? Smart gun technology is basically not there. I wouldn't want to risk that myself. But these things have backup. You know, all of them that have the biometric, for example, that I've seen, that you can still get into them with a key, or you can get into them with the key code, and your box is going to be accessible. You just make sure you don't lock up your keys in the box. That would not be brilliant. So again, we have been meaning to do this more, and I apologize for not. You know, if I hate to use that line, if we saved one life, you know, it's worth that line's been used to justify everything under the sun. But really, we ought to just eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and have one of these on the shooting table when we're doing videos. We may do it. People need to be aware that these boxes exist. Now, you might be vehemently against them for some reason. You know, go ahead and share it. I don't know, but it is one option. Okay. Now, I even like a full-size gun safe with an electronic door on it. If you have that close enough, or wherever you think you might need a firearm, if there was an emergency, those are just as quick as these to get into. That's another option, a full-size safe. But in the absence of that, these are not a bad choice, okay? And again, don't have any dog in the fight with any company or anything. There are probably, you know, as I said, dozens of them out there. Look them over. I would do some research before you buy it, and I wouldn't base it just on price, because there is a difference. Some of them just feel like better boxes than the others. They really do. And then they all have, you know, different features. So, and just about every company you see here, as far as I know, they make a variety of them. Okay, so you need to figure out what you would like on one. And I would start at that point. How big you think it needs to be, and what methods for opening it you would want. And I'd go from there, and then just see what's available. So anyway, handgun safety, handgun security. This is real common sense handgun safety, I think. So just for whatever it's worth, I thought I would share that with you. Life is good.